friend, it's Pat Sloan here. Happy October! So I put on my Disney Dreamlight Valley Pumpkin Farmer t-shirt because it is so stinking cute. I actually wore this to get my flu shot, and the nurse was like, oh, what is that? Tell me about that. She goes, I'm gonna write it down. This just shows you wrote it down. I think it's pretty funny. Okay, so we have a couple of things for October 1st. It is also Tackle It Tuesday, and that is my main focus for today, which actually I think going forward, Tuesdays, I'm going to try to reserve for my sewing day. My things, tackling things, just getting some stuff done. That's what I think feels good for me to do. And so we're going to try and make that happen. Try to make that is what's going on. If you did not download the project calendar, I hope you do. I hope you go and print it so that you know what's going on every day and what the sort of celebrations are. And then the back is a list of projects. So that's all out there. So today is coffee day. Now, when I go out later on October 1st, of course, I'm not taping this on October 1st, but I go October 1st, I'm going to get a pumpkin latte. Yes, I am, to celebrate. But right now, I have got an iced latte. So thank you for this from all of the wonderful people who send me Starbucks cards. I love it. It's actually an iced Americano with a splash of soy, so it's not a full latte, but it's like a reduced down one. That's much less cream in it with the soy. It is also lace day. If you have a quilt with lace on it, show it. So go out to the Quilts Along with Pat Sloan at Facebook and show your quilts that have lace on it. And it's balloon day. So if you have quilts with balloon fabric, balloon images, on panels, there's lots of panels, baby panels and stuff, I think, that have balloons on them. And so we would love to see what you have done. Let's talk about Make-A-Wish. Oh my goodness. You that all bought tickets were fantastic for the raffle. Oh my goodness. The raffle tickets sold $16,000 worth of raffle tickets that all go towards Make-A-Wish. Isn't that, you are fantastic. I really appreciate you buying tickets for my Make-A-Wish quilt, and it went to one lucky person. So if you are the one, I know who you are, but if you want me to say your name and show you on here, when you get the quilt, take a picture of yourself with the quilt and send it to me at pat@patsloan.com, and I will share it with everybody if you're comfortable with that, or just share it with me and tell me it's just for me. It's okay. Total for the event, which includes the raffle quilts, which there were four raffle quilts. So the raffle quilts, the pattern sales. So those of you who didn't buy a raffle, you purchased the patterns to sew along. You are angels. You are all angels. So we have that. Then Moda Fabrics donates. They're based in Texas as well, so they donate for this charity. They're a very generous company. And then the Jollies, Kimberly and Kevin Jolly, who own the Fat Quarter Shop, and you know who they are. They also donate to this from their personal finances. So this is near and dear charity to their heart. And drum roll, $80,103. Oh, you just blew it out of the park. Guess how many wishes they can give with that? I guess Make-A-Wish does estimates. So they were told it can do 8 wishes. 8. Oh my gosh, 8 children who are seriously ill and are accepted into this program can make a wish, and the Make-A-Wish group has that happen for them. And it just gives me chills. It's just, and I know that some of you have written and told me that your children were the benefit of a Make-A-Wish, and so it is really, really special that you all support it this way. I know, I'm not crying. But thank you, everybody, for your love and support of the charities. We as a quilting community are extremely generous, and it shows in everything that you do. Okay. Now, I thought it might be fun for the Make-A-Wish, I got stuck in my head. I thought it might be fun for Tackle It Tuesday today to kind of talk about, I'm going to say three, like the title of this video says, three things that I do to move things ahead and remove obstacles from that happening. Because I think a lot of times we get stuck. We might not, feel like something, or something's too much of an effort to get it going or get it moved past where you might be stuck on it, or a lot of different things happen. But the bottom line is you're not making in the way you want to. Sometimes we're not making in the way we want to. We're maybe not making enough, or not making as often. We're not making, the deadlines we've set for ourselves. You've volunteered to make a charity quilt, or you have a birthday, quilt you want to make, or an anniversary or celebration quilt, and you don't feel like you're going to make these deadlines. So whatever, I want you to do just three things, or three small things that maybe if you they're not necessarily small, but they're three things that I do that help me sort of keep in the positive and keep it all flowing for me so that I don't get stuck. All right, let's talk about the first one. Tip number one. This is one that may not be easy for some of you, but it is to have a dedicated space. It does not have to be a big space. I mean, I use my family room here in our home. I have used many rooms throughout the home, from the living room to the bigger extra bedrooms to 2 extra bedrooms upstairs. We only have 3 bedrooms in the house. Excuse me, to this space in the family room, which I have used for years. Greg used it as his office for a period of time. But I know that this amount of space, a whole entire room, is not doable for everybody. But most of you can find some tiny space that you can carve out to leave your machine, your current project out. When you have to put everything away every single day when you're done, it will rob you of those precious minutes you have to work on that project, because you need to take time to pull it out and put it away. Not just time, but energy. And the energy where it kills you is getting it out. If you only have a little bit of time, you can't get it out and actually have any time to sew, or any time to cut things, or whatever you're going to do. So there are many, many ways that you can sort of look at your home and find a place in your space to carve out. It might be maybe taking part of a closet even. People have done that, like just so you can open the doors and your machine and some stuff is just right into the closet door. The corner of a bedroom. A corner of your dining room, maybe, even though your family might use the dining room all the time for eating and whatnot, maybe you can just put a little tiny table with your machine in the corner. And I do know some of you have extraordinarily small spaces. You might have apartments, you might share these spaces with others, you might have to work at your kitchen table normally, and those are, I know, more challenging issues. But if you can, put it in a basket that's easy to open up and get it out. Because this number one thing is the killer. If you can't get to your stuff easily and have it ready to work on, it will stifle you time and time again. Okay, so that is number one. If you need help thinking through where in your space you could do this, go to my community, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan, share a picture of your space. People will give you lots of ideas, and not only that, people who have similar spaces will help you out. With 440,000 people from across the world, somebody who's quilting has something similar and has ideas for you. All right. Number two, sew in those small spaces of time. I do feel like a lot of people have the impression you can only really do your hobby if you've got an hour to spend on it. And in reality, you move things forward so much by little tiny increments. 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there. It will just amaze you at how much you can move forward and work on your project and get enjoyment and satisfaction having done just a little bit. Okay, here's an example. Today, when I'm filming this, is the day I went to get a flu shot. We had to do a bunch of other things, and then we came home and we had like 20 minutes, and I had to go check some email and do some other things, so I was down to about 10 minutes for the first time. I had about 10 minutes. So what I did is my pear quilt was up on the wall, and I had made the inner sashing, but I hadn't cut the lengths to pin to the top and the bottom, any of the lengths yet. But I do the first two, top and bottom, for the inner border. I hadn't measured that. So in that 10 minutes, I got this off the wall, went to my cutting table, measured out how long I needed the inner border to be, and cut 2 of them. I got all that done. Then I had to go do these other errands and appointments and came back, and then I had another period of like about 10 minutes, if not less, until I had to go get the flu shot. And the flu shot is actually at my office. My doctor's in the office building at my plaza, where my grocery store and my Starbucks is, So what I did is I pinned it. I pinned the top one down. I pinned this inner border. It's not sewn. It's just pinned. And then I pinned the other end too. So I pinned both ends, and now I am ready to sew this after I'm done with this video. But that's an example of, something. If you have your pattern out and your fabrics out, you could go and cut a few blocks. If you have your cut blocks ready, you could sit down and sew a few seams. Just that little bit. Most of our machines turn on really quick. It's not like you're firing up your big computer or logging into a game or something like that. Some of the, like this Disney Dreamlight, I can go and stitch. I stitch cross stitch while I'm waiting for the Disney Dreamlight to load in, because it takes a little bit of time. And so I can do something else while it's loading. But our sewing machines are amazing because they turn on right away. You turn it on, you can sit down, you can sew 3 or 4 seams and then go on your way. And just use those tiny little bits of time. But that's why number 1 is important. If you don't have it out and ready, number 2 is kind of impossible, because you can't quickly go and take the benefit of that small bit of time, because you have to haul your crap out. So number 1 and item number 2 go together. Tip number 3, I actually have a bonus, because 3 and 4, I think they're both super, super, super important. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the easier one first as tip number 3, and that would be to set a timer. Because one of the things that it's a mental game. You feel like those, you don't have much time, or you don't feel like you can do that task because it needs more time than that. But I want you to set timers so that as you start something, and then when you get to the point where, okay, you need to finish, look at how much time it actually took. The kind of companion to that is if you are sort of not feeling it, but realize you really need to get in there working, because that happens. Maybe you're not feeling working on that project, but you've committed to finishing it, or whatever the issue is. And so, but you avoid. You don't go in there and sew because you don't really want to work on that project. So the timer, set it for 10 minutes. Set it for 15 minutes, whatever works for you, 10 or 15 minutes. Really don't go more than that, just 10 or 15. Set the timer 10 or 15 minutes. You just get some sort of easy timer like this. Use your phone. You all have phones with timers on it. Set your Alexa to tell you. I use her for that a lot, that way I don't have to think about it. And the chime is nice. It's not like glaring to set the alarm. So in that 10 or 15 minutes, if you then feel that you still want to stop, you have spent 10 or 15 minutes working on that project. Usually you will find you get kind of in mode. Okay, you got geared up, you got going, you did a little bit. Okay, you can go a little bit longer, maybe set the timer again for another 10 or 15 or whatever works for you. But it's just jump starting yourself and forcing yourself to get going on it, because this is very easy, particularly for those of you who are retired and maybe having a little, sojo problem. You just lost your motivation. It's kind of forcing yourself to go back in and work on something will often kick off sewing for you again. You'll kind of get the juices going again. Okay, so that's number 3. And I'm going to do bonus number 4, which is much more difficult. I think 4 is going to be more difficult for some people than number 1 of carving out a space, because a lot of you have carved out a space. I think there is a group of you that haven't done it yet. But let me say one more thing about carving out a space. Some of you have a space carved out, but it's piled with crap. You've dumped stuff in there. You don't have a cutting table you can readily use because you've piled stuff on it and didn't put it away. Your sewing machine might have stuff piled on it. If you're in that place, number 1 for you is to clear your space so that you can actually work. And you might have a dedicated space, but it might be so cluttered you can't get to it to actually use it without moving everything, could be you don't even have a space. I mean, really, it's the same difference. If you have to spend time moving stuff in order to cut, sew, or iron, your space is not functioning for you. So fix that. That's an added number 1. All right, back to number 4. This one is getting rid of the mental baggage of projects you don't want to work on anymore. Yes, they happen. We have projects that we get so excited about. Yes, we're excited. We make a couple blocks and we're like, okay, I'm done. I enjoyed making a couple blocks, but I don't want to make any more. You sort of get it out of your system, or something new and shiny shows up and you're like, I want to make that. Or maybe it's a really massive project, and so that's hard to stay motivated for a very long project. So when you get that group of projects that they're just hanging back here because we feel guilt. We feel guilt because we started it, we bought the fabric, we've already started whatever, working on it, and now what do you do with all of that? You've invested your money and whatever. I know it's hard to say don't think about the money part. I know that's hard. But if you take that out of the equation, just pretend it didn't you've always owned it, or it just arrived mysteriously in your room. Then it's like, if there was no money part associated, would you continue working on it? Would you be in love with it? If no, then you need to find a way to either put it away for a while, and maybe you'll come back to it someday, or if it's truly you're done, then take what you've finished and make it into a table runner or a little baby quilt or a wall hanging, and then put the rest of the fabric back in your stash. Take it all out of the basket and redo it. Put it away. All right. I have 2 of those right now. I do. And you know what they are because you've seen them, because they were started not that long ago. But I'm at the point where they are nagging back here and they're taking up space. They're taking up valuable space here in my limited amount of space because they both have a full basket assigned to them. Let's look, because I walk the walk, talk the walk, walk the talk. How does that saying go? I don't know. So the first is this one. I even have row number 1 I sewed together. Okay, this absolutely awesome panel, and it goes and makes a full quilt, which I think I even said I was going to take 1 row and 1 column off to try to make it smaller. So what happened? I mean, I love this. I love the fabrics. I love the colors. It is so cute. What happened is I don't like sewing this part. I didn't like it. I don't mind it once it's finished, but I wasn't loving sewing it, like cutting these skinny strips and then, making that happen. And they all have it. Every block. It's a lot of work. And by the time I would have gotten this, I wasn't going to keep work. I just couldn't. I just got to the point. I even made all the stars. There's like the star piece block. I made all those. So I have to decide. Whoops. I even had some little things, little sew and flips are in there. So I have to decide what to do with this, because it takes a whole basket, the fabric. And yes, I bought the fabric. So buying the fabric away, I still don't want to finish it. I like the little panels. It might maybe, but I'm not going to do all that now. Now, like this month, I'm just too late in the game. So I could put this one away and hold it till another time, because I might feel more into doing those strips at some other point. It's just when I made it, I just couldn't get into the fact. I just did the calculations. I knew how much time they were, a little time consuming. So I knew how much time it was. I'm like, I don't want to spend that much time on this particular quilt. I don't. And so, okay, so that's that one. The other one also has its own basket, which I didn't pull over here. But that is my, the Roar fabric done with my crushed pattern, which is the red and white one up there, that pattern. And I still think this would be so cute to do 9 blocks. Just do it a little bit. Well, that one's 12, because it's got 4 rows, the one on the wall. The one on the wall is 12. See, there's the top. And you remember I have like the awesome border fabric, which is massive. And I think that's the part that also kind of stalls me. I love the blocks. I love the fabric. I know it's not for everybody, particularly the dino egg print here with the big giant circles, but I love it. It tickles me. And I like making them blocked. It's my design. I like making it. It's easy to make. It's not hard to make. And so I'm not terribly sure why I got stalled on this one. But I did. And so I definitely am keeping this one. But I think both of these, I'm going to take them out of these bins, package them up, and put them away for a little while. This one I'm not going to put as far away. And it may actually just stay in the bin. I might feel it a little bit later. But the Halloween one, this guy here, I am going to definitely, move it out of the room here into some long-term storage, and then see what happens down the road with that guy. I have these little pieces cut and they keep flying in the air. All right, and there's other some sort of smaller projects. I have UFOs that I have to get to, but these are 2 that I started not that long ago, several months ago, and just stalled out. About a month and a half ago or so, 2 months ago, I stalled out on them. I just goes done. So anyway, there you go. Those are my 4 top tips, and I am going to actually put into motion this one. I do the others, and I do this often, but I have to do it for these 2 projects. These 2 projects, I have to just take them off my plate and take them out of my brain, so that I'm not constantly thinking I should work on that, but I don't feel like working on that, that kind of a thing. So, okay, my friend, October 1, it is October 1. I am so excited. I don't know why. It's fall. It's officially fall. So I love you. Mwah. Thanks for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.